Did in a whole bunch of agencies was fire en masse the probationary employees. And I don't remember exactly how long you're a probationary employee when you're hired, but he's the crazy one, and everybody is getting more crazy than he is. And as Nikki Haley pointed out when she was telling the truth for a couple of weeks in the spring. I mean, Donald Trump, it's just ingrained in him. He wants retribution against his enemies. And by picking two people who are completely loyal to him.
In the middle of a serious conversation, Donald Trump was suddenly hit with the personal question about marriage, and it clearly caught him off guard. Even he seemed unprepared, pausing just long enough for everyone to notice. It was a rare moment that gave a glimpse into his personal life, showing a side we don't often see. Before we go further, take a moment to like and subscribe. It's a small gesture that helps us keep bringing you quality content rooted in transparency and democracy. Thanks for your support. Now, back to that moment. Picture Trump sitting across from the interviewer, in full campaign mode, talking election fraud, his poll numbers, and, of course, his TV ratings. He was clearly in his element, delivering his usual lines with confidence and flair. Then suddenly, the tone shifted. The interviewer asked a direct question about his marriage, completely off script. You could see the change instantly. His trademark confidence slipped for just a moment, replaced by a flash of uncertainty. It was more than just a surprise. It felt like the conversation had completely flipped.
I mean, that's the only way you can describe it. And everyone has, it consists of basically two groups of people, mostly. Donald Trump, it's just ingrained in him. He wants retribution against his enemies. And by picking two people who are completely loyal to him, I think, generally speaking, not in every single case, less government is better than more, because you don't want too powerful a government because you may not like the next government.
Everything was going smoothly for Trump, at least at first. He was in familiar territory, confidently running through his usual talking points like someone who's answered the same 5 questions for years. The hand gestures were big, the tone bold, and the self-praise delivered with perfect timing. It was classic Trump. Then, out of nowhere, came the curveball. The interviewer casually asked, "How do you feel about your personal life reflecting in your public image, looking back on your marriages?" For a man who never seems caught off guard, this one landed hard. Trump didn't have a quick deflection. No mention of Hillary's emails. No jabs at China. No rant about fake news. Just a moment of visible discomfort, as if all the air had been sucked out of the room. To be clear, his bluster didn't vanish, but it definitely wavered. You could see it. His face tightened, his hands, usually moving like they're part of a stage show, froze mid-air. His eyes shifted slightly, searching for a way out. But when it came to the topic of marriage, there was no pre-loaded soundbite. He finally broke the silence with, "I'm a pretty successful man, you see." Not exactly the best way to start talking about personal relationships. From there, he stumbled through a few vague lines about being in the spotlight and people always talking about him. It was classic Trump speak, but this time, it felt more like filler than fire. The audience noticed. The tension was real. For once, Trump wasn't steering the conversation. He was reacting, and not smoothly. It wasn't a meltdown, but it was unusual. This is a man known for brushing off criticism, laughing off scandals, and turning even the It wasn't politics that got to him. It wasn't late-night comedians or angry reporters. It was a personal question, simple, direct, and real. And for once, it seemed to hit a nerve.
With Nikki Haley. And the person who has really lost it the most is Donald Trump. Say it's 74, 75 degrees. He's saying it's freezing. He's the lies about the election. Oh, he's the crazy one, and everybody is getting more crazy than he is. And as Nikki Haley pointed out when she was telling the truth for a couple of weeks in the spring.
What made the question land so hard was how calmly it was asked. It wasn't a heckler shouting at a rally or a late-night comedian mocking him. It was simple, measured, and direct. What impact do your marriages have on your public image? That kind of question demands reflection. And based on Trump's reaction, it's clear that reflection isn't exactly his strong suit. This moment came at a time when there was already growing public interest in his relationship with Melania, stories about her skipping campaign events, and even reportedly turning down a speaking role at the Republican National Convention didn't help the optics. Trump is quick to dismiss criticism of his politics as fake news, but when it comes to his personal life, the shield doesn't always hold. His body language gave that away. Stiff, uncertain, out of rhythm. That stumble over a marriage question didn't just make him look uneasy, it chipped away at the core of his carefully built image. Trump has always thrived on appearing larger than life, unshakable, wildly confident. The guy who wrote The Art of the Deal, admitting to personal flaws, especially in something as private and relatable as marriage, just doesn't fit his brand, and that's why questions like these throw him off balance. They bring up uncomfortable reminders, whether it's Melania's public distance, his high-profile divorces, or courtroom claims from past relationships. These things don't just stir gossip, they strike at the foundation of his public persona. Trump thrives on being untouchable, but his marital history introduces a vulnerability that's hard to spin. It's also telling how differently he responds to personal questions compared to political ones. When someone mocks his policies or calls him out on economic issues, he fires back immediately, calling critics losers, haters, or tools of the fake news media. But when it's about his personal life, especially something as intimate as marriage, the response is often quieter, more uncomfortable, and strangely human. In a way, these moments reveal something rare: the contrast between the Trump we see on stage, loud, confident, always on the attack, and the version that surfaces when the spotlight shifts to his private life. It's not just that he doesn't like those questions, it's that they risk tearing down the polished, bulletproof image he works so hard to project. Next voice. At this point, the conversation isn't just about the room or the question, it's about what happens when the mask slips even slightly. That's where it gets interesting. Because if a simple question about marriage can visibly shake Trump, what does that say about the image he worked so hard to maintain? What happens when a man who's built his brand on power and control suddenly fumbles when asked about something as basic as his own past? This wasn't just a hiccup in one interview, it raises larger questions about the strength of Trump's public persona. His entire brand is rooted in confidence, dominance, and control. He's the self-made mogul, the deal maker, the guy who never loses. Every gesture, every soundbite, every rally chant is designed to reinforce that identity. That's why moments like this are so revealing. A question he didn't like about his marriages no less managed to rattle him. And that hesitation, that silence, it wasn't the usual Trump, the one who powers through awkward moments with jokes, jabs, or sudden topic shifts. This time, his voice caught, his eyes darted, his usual rhythm was gone, and in that quiet pause, the illusion cracked. It's strange to see Trump caught off guard, almost unsettling, and because it's so rare, it sticks in the memory. Honestly, does anyone remember what he said about tax reform 2 weeks ago? Probably not, but this, the awkward dodge around a marriage question, that stood out because it was un-Trump-like. He didn't launch into a tirade, he didn't spin it, he didn't bury it in bravado, he simply stumbled. And for someone whose identity depends on always being the smartest person in the room, that kind of vulnerability is damaging. The crowd noticed. Some saw it as a rare human moment, a glimpse of the man behind the persona. Others took it as a small but telling PR slip. Either way, it revealed something about how Trump is perceived. To his supporters, it might have been a moment to relate to. After all, who hasn't been thrown off by a tough personal question? But to his critics, it was a gift. Proof that the man who claims to have all the answers might not be in control after all. And now, the bigger question. What does this moment do to Trump's image? Love him or not, one thing is clear: his brand is built on unshakable confidence. A single crack, even a small one, can rattle the foundation. This is the same man who once claimed he could shoot someone in the middle of Fifth Avenue and not lose support. Being untouchable isn't just part of his persona, it is his persona. Policy criticism doesn't faze him. He shrugs off economic questions,